Alcohol is the only drug on the planet where you need an excuse to not drink it. If you go out with your friends and you say, do you know what, I'm not drinking tonight, a lot of the times they're going to turn around and say, come on man, just have one, just for tonight. It's my birthday, it's Christmas, it's this, it's that. But if you'd had an addiction to painkillers your whole life, nobody's going to say, come on man, just have one painkiller. But alcohol is a different beast. The thing is there are people out there that profit billions and billions and billions of dollars from your drinking profit. Now, I want you to imagine this scenario. Imagine you were born yesterday, but you were born and you could speak, you could talk, you could walk, like you were born like a capable person. And then this person comes up to you and says, welcome to the world, David. Welcome to the world, Jennifer. I've got a contract here and you need to sign this contract right now. And he said, what's the contract? And they put the contract down and they said, you're going to pay me $200,000 over the course of your lifetime. I'm going to steal your energy. I'm going to steal your health. I'm going to steal your family. I'm going to steal everything from you. And I'm going to put you in a grave 20 years early. And guess what I'm going to give you in return? Nothing. And the individual looks at you in the eyes and says, yeah, just sign on the dotted line. Why not? Everybody else does it. You don't want to be the only one that doesn't spend all this money and you can't be the only one, surely. And you're like, is this really the world that I'm getting born into? Like, what are you talking about? I said, yeah, everybody does it. Don't worry about it. And then you look past the guy and you see a Rolls Royce, you see a Lamborghini, you see a beautiful home, you see a beautiful family, and you ask him, well, do you drink that stuff? He goes, no, of course not. You're thinking, what is going on here? Now, I know it's a bit of a silly scenario, but would you sign that piece of paper? No, you'd probably end up drop kicking that guy in the face saying, leave me the heck alone. But the thing is that we actually signed that contract. We signed that contract, but nobody actually asks us if we want to do it. Nobody asks us if we want to participate in it, but just by being born into this world, you are signing that contract unless you do something about it. And this is the thing, is that unless you actually do something, unless you actually address this, it's very likely that you will spend $200,000 on alcohol in your lifetime. It's very likely that it will put you in an early grave, and it will cost you, maybe not everything, but it will cost you a lot. But I promise you one thing. The best thing about this contract that you've already signed is that it is so easy for you to rip it up right now. It's so easy for you to just say, do you know what? I don't want this contract anymore. I'm done. The only way you can get rid of that contract is by deciding to not drink alcohol. And do you know what happens when you don't drink alcohol? You don't spend $200,000. You have an extra $200,000, you have more energy, you have a better relationship with your family. There are only good things that happen. There's not a single bad thing that happens in your life when you remove alcohol. But actually, there is a disadvantage. But there's not a disadvantage to you. That individual I was talking to about, the one with the Rolls Royce and the Lambo and the mansion, there'll be a disadvantage to him because no longer will he profit from your early death. Instead, you use that money, that health, that energy to better your life, to better your family's life, to be the best person that you can be. And some rich, greedy person, they're not going to profit from you.
You do stupid things when you're drunk. You hurt yourself. You compromise your health. It's really hard on the people around you. You tend to turn into a liar and it screws up your life. You need something better than that. You need to get out there and have something to do.
Yeah.
And something worth waking up for. And that's the substitute for the addiction.
You suffer enough that something inside you goes, I'm done. And I'm like lucky because I hit that point before I lost really the things that were the most important, which was not my career or money, it was my relationship with my kids. And when I felt as if it impacted them, I recognized it. It was the worst day of my life. I made amends. And I for a while, I thought maybe this is temporary. Maybe this feeling's gonna go away. But since that day, I swear to Christ, I have not ever wanted to drink once. Ever.
Wow.
So it's the easiest thing in the world because every time I think about it, I'm just like, holy shit, that's the worst thing in the world. I don't want that. I can't do that. And that's the piece that people find. So now I'm that asshole who's like, I'm grateful. I learned a lot. I actually got to be a better person through this process and I've lost the obsession.
In your late 20s, you stopped drinking.
Stop drinking, yeah.
Very difficult?
No, beautiful, unbelievable.
Better.
Oh, are you kidding? I would never be sitting here with you. No way, no chance.
Because?
Because I wouldn't have been able to have access to myself or other people or even been able to take in other people if I hadn't changed my life. No way. And I never would have been able to have relationships that I do. I never would have been able to take care of my father the way I did when he was sick. So many things.
Thank you, Bradley. Bradley just put his daughter to bed and rushed over here to do this. He's a sweetheart. I got sober because of this guy, and every day has been happier ever since.
What I realized was I was running to things to avoid tough feelings, painful feelings. I just didn't know how to deal with them, and looking for anything I found that I use for to escape, I guess, difficult feelings. I don't know how better to describe it. I mean, that can be anything. That can be drugs, booze, Netflix, snacks, anything. I don't want to, at this point, to be running from anything. I want to sit in it, I want to feel it, I want to get through the rough night. And I found in doing so, you come out the other side with a more profound understanding of yourself, a greater gratefulness for those in your life and the birds and the trees and everything else.
I would call it a problem. It's now not a problem. I drank in search of happiness and in search of a lifestyle that I thought would bring me to happiness. It didn't, and I woke up one morning going, wow, I've drank a lot, but I'm still not happy. What's that about? And, now we're about a year and a half later, and my life has turned around immeasurably. It's a wonderful thing. And I say to anybody watching or listening to this that, it's, that there is a lot of pressure on young people not to drink necessarily, but to find happiness through going out and getting mashed, and that's fun, and you have a good time, and good luck to you. But if it doesn't work for you, and if you keep waking up going, I don't seem to be having nearly as good time as most of my friends, then then think about it. It doesn't have to be something you do. Is all I'd say to people.
It was more just that I lost everything. Like
Oh, you did?
I mean, I was practically homeless. Like,
How old were you when you
I was 24 when I
stopped
got
drinking?
sober. But, I came out of school and I had wanted to be, it's a funny thing too with the hubris of youth and of me in particular. Like, I came out of school thinking that I would come to New York and New York would be like, oh, now we understand, like, welcome. And New York was like, what? Like, and I was a big failure early on with I had a theater company, I had all these artistic pretensions, and I basically wound up not being able to make any money, people not liking anything that I did, and just being, practically kicked out of my apartment, unable to support myself, unable to hold down like a waiting tables job. My friends all started to abandon me because I was a very angry and horrible human being to be around. And then finally, my girlfriend, who I never thought would leave me, left me. And so I just got to this point and I was about to be kicked out of my apartment. It's that awful thing that you hear every alcoholic talk about. And if they don't talk about it, they're lying. You just become an awful human being. You just, you're selfish.
Was there a moment that was like the crystallizing, oh yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna kill myself. And then,
Really?
I did, but I didn't have the, I'm gonna say courage to do it. I didn't have the, I had a cat, and this is a funny thing, where I actually had a baby cat. And I remember reading somewhere that if there's a dead body in an apartment, because I didn't have any friends too, so my body would have stayed in the apartment for maybe weeks, and nobody would have discovered that I paid my rent. And I was like, apparently dogs won't eat you, but cats will eat you. They will eat your body if they run out of food. And I was like, wow, I don't want my poor cat to you know what I mean? And so I was like, so that was the moment where I was like,
Are you telling me that if you didn't have a cat in your house, you would have killed yourself?
Maybe. I mean, that could have been a ruse. But I did wake up the next morning and I had a friend who'd been sober for a million years, and I called him and I was like, hey man, my life's in trouble. And he was like, why don't you get sober? And I was like, no, man. It's like I just need a new girlfriend. No, I need a girlfriend. He was like, why don't you get sober? And I was like, no, man. I just need a new job. If I get a job. And he's like, why don't you get sober? And I was like, no, man, it's the jelly donuts. I gotta stop eating the jelly donuts and then I'll be fine. He was like, why don't you get sober? And I was like, maybe I'll get sober. And it just broke, and I went to a meeting, and then it is that thing where it's just, your life just changed, and people are nice to you finally when no one's been nice to you.